everyone, my name's Allie and welcome back to my channel, Mindful Living. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking all about small space gardening, and I'm going to share some of my top tips on how to grow more in a small space. I've been gardening for many years now using only containers and very limited space. My balcony is only 84 square feet and I pack it with anywhere from 25 to 30 plants every spring, summer, and fall. Over the years, I've learned quite a lot growing in containers and utilizing my small space, and I want to share some of that knowledge with you guys today, hopefully inspire a few of you to get growing no matter what size your outdoor space is. So let's go ahead and get started. My first tip for growing in a small space is to make sure you are utilizing your vertical space. One way I do this is growing in a stackable planter. I love using this planter to grow all different types of lettuces, which is what I'm showing here, but you could easily grow other plants as well as long as they have a shallow root system. In this planter, I'm growing about 12 heads of lettuce, so you could see just how much you can grow in such a small space. I highly recommend you try this if you're looking to grow more in less space. Another way I utilize my vertical space is by growing in hanging baskets. I've grown strawberries every year in my hanging baskets because they drape over the edge of the container. It keeps them away from squirrels and pests as they're hanging in the air. And yeah, you can grow a lot of strawberries. I like to grow the everbearing variety so you get multiple harvests throughout the season. Here is my hanging basket that I use for all of my herbs, and this is another great way to plant multiple herbs together in a small space. You can also use different trellises or supports for your plant to get it to grow upwards. So this is a sugar pea, this is actually a dwarf variety, and I've just used a trellis to keep the plant growing upwards. I've also done this for my cucumber plant, cherry tomato plant, and different ones that you want to grow up taller instead of wider. This allows the plant to be more compact while also providing it with support as it grows. And the last thing I'm going to mention is this wooden shelf or rack that I have outdoors. This allows me to fit 7 plants in the same square footage that would probably only fit 3 or 4. So it really does take advantage of that vertical space. And of course, as the plants continue to grow and flourish, I really love the way it looks as well. Moving on to tip number 2, which is really important, and that's growing container-friendly plants. When you're growing in containers, it really does matter which type of plants you are choosing. Certain varieties do better in containers, and it can get a little confusing with how many different seeds there are. One of the main things you're going to be looking for on the package is a dwarf, patio, or bush variety of seeds. So this is a bush variety of cucumber opposed to a vining. It's going to grow a lot better in a container. Along with bush zucchini, it's the same kind of thing. You don't really want a huge vining plant. It's better to grow a bush variety that's more compact. Another great choice for containers is tomatoes, and you most likely want to grow a determinate variety, so that's one that doesn't continue to grow in size. It'll only grow to a few feet tall and then set all of its fruit. I prefer growing this in my container garden as it takes up way less space than an indeterminate variety. Another type of seed to look for is a bush variety of green beans. This is a tender green. You can also grow all different types of peppers in containers. They're only going to grow to be 3 to 4 feet tall, so they make really good container plants. I love growing banana peppers, hot peppers, bell peppers. Any type that you like is going to do really well in a container. Another thing I really enjoy planting is kale, and this is of course a dwarf variety of kale. This type of kale doesn't get too big, but it's still very high producing. And as I mentioned earlier, strawberries are another great choice. They are a container-friendly plant. They do really well in containers, and they definitely are a staple in my summer garden. Leafy greens are another great choice for your small space garden. All different types of varieties are going to do really well in a container with limited space. Some of my favorites include romaine, loose leaf lettuce blends, arugula, spinach, and Swiss chard. Tip number 3 is companion planting. This is a great way to maximize the space in your garden. Planting multiple plants together also allows for better pest control, pollination, and just overall improving the health of your plant. I like to do this every year with my herb garden, so here are a few herb companions: basil, rosemary, oregano, thyme, parsley, dill. All of these herbs are going to grow really well together. If you're planting tomatoes in your small space garden, there's quite a few companions. They include basil, marigolds, lettuces, and carrots. Marigolds in particular can help keep away unwanted pests and insects, and basil is said to enhance the flavor of your tomatoes. If you're a pepper lover like me, popular companions include oregano, marjoram, basil, onions, and lettuces. Similar to tomatoes, basil will help your peppers taste better, and oregano, marjoram, and lettuces acts as a ground cover around your peppers. This helps to crowd out weeds and unwanted insects from getting to your plants. Another way I like to take advantage of companion planting is by planting multiple lettuces together. Lettuce has all different companions, but a few of my favorites to mix together that I think grow really well together is anything from spinach to arugula, romaine, and leaf lettuces. You can really experiment and grow a whole bunch of different lettuces in the same small space. My final tip for this video is going to be succession planting. This is a great way to make sure you have a continuous supply and you always have something to harvest in your garden. Succession planting is the practice of seeding your crops at intervals of 7 to 21 days. So maybe you have a few plants already growing in your container like I do here, and then I'm going to go ahead and sow some new seeds. That way I always have a continuous supply to harvest from. I really enjoy doing this with my leafy greens, my green onions, and chives. I'm just showing a close-up of the container here. You can see the larger ones that have already grown to full size. And I've gone ahead and sowed a few more seeds into the container, so as I harvest and use these green onions, I have new fresh growth popping up in the bottom. This is a foolproof way to utilize your small space and make sure that you always have something fresh growing in the garden. Here is my lettuce container. You can see the larger growth and then the smaller little seedlings that have popped up. It also does really well for how the plant grows. Look how dense and full this lettuce is. And I'm going to show you by pulling back some of the leaves here that I do still have the smaller growth in the corners. Just make sure that the seedlings that are smaller are still getting adequate sunlight. I also do this with my herbs. Here's an example of my dill. So lots of growth happening, and I've sown a bunch of seeds in the bottom, so as I trim this away, I have more fresh dill growing. Well, that's it for this video today. I hope if you guys enjoyed my tips on how to grow in a small space, that you will leave me a like. Make sure to leave a comment down below. I love connecting with my subscribers. And of course, hit that subscribe button. It really does help to support me and my channel. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next one.